This is the 2023 Volvo XC40. This is the all-wheel drive B5 Ultimate Bright Theme model that we're looking at today. There's some changes for 2023, including changes to trim levels to really simplify things down. You will also find a new wheel design. And speaking of tires and wheels, these are 245 with width, 45 on the sidewall size, this area right here, which will help to give a better ride quality here. So the taller that sidewall is, the better the ride quality is going to be. And then taking a look at those wheels, 20 inches is what you're going to find. There are also new exterior colors. And for those who want a leather-free interior, there is a new interior option for that. So quite a few things going on here. And then on the front end, you'll notice changes to the bumper as well as the headlight design. And speaking of the headlights, they are LED, very nice looking headlights. The overall look is elegant, as it should be. You're also going to have the fog lights down there in the lower portion of the bumper. And the blinker housing right here, or turn signal, that's the Thor's hammer look, as people are calling it. One thing I do like here that Volvo has done so well over the years is maintained, well, a bit of a Volvo look and flair to the vehicle with the front grille. You know it's a Volvo when you see it. That makes a big difference. And as far as the side view mirrors go, they are heated, power folding, power adjustable. I will show you them folding shortly when I turn the engine off. Turn signal indicators are built in. We're going to have the panoramic sunroof. That is a feature that you're going to get on all of these, no matter what. I have the shade drawn right now, but we'll open that up later on to show it to you. And then here on the rear, very nice looking tail lights. The housing, well, it looks like a Volvo. That's what it's supposed to be, obviously, right? But I like how Volvo has kept that look. It looks very nice. You do have the power tailgate right here. That is useful. Again, standard as far as the hands-free function goes across all trim levels. You're going to find that to be the case. Very easy to use, as you see right there, just in case you are wondering. An overall very nice and elegant vehicle. One thing you might wonder about, one of the big advantages here is that for 2023, there's some slightly improved fuel economy. What a great segue into talking about what's under that hood. Here under the hood, the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 247 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and power ultimately makes its way to the ground through all-wheel drive. And how about those all-important MPGs? I don't know how well you can see this, but you're looking at 23 city, 30 highway, 26 combined. And Volvo says you should use 3.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles you drive. It might help to make more sense with that information, considering the fact that you have a 14.2 gallon gas tank. Now, I promised you that I'd show you these power folding side view mirrors in action. Well, there you go. They don't fold a lot, but they do fold. And here is your remote. Obviously, the buttons are on the side instead of being on the face. So now that you know what is there, that will make that a lot easier to understand. A very nice look here, to say the very least, with the overall body lines of the XC40. It looks, well, like an XC40 should, in my opinion. I think Volvo has done a good job here as far as the overall design with the way things flow down with the door here. It just gives it some nice character lines. Now you're going to have the flat black exterior as far as the trim goes right here. And if you want to tow with your XC40, you can tow up to 3,500 pounds. And like I showed you earlier, you have this standard power rear lift gate, very easy to deal with. In fact, I don't think anybody's going to need to change the height of this door. If they needed to, well, they could. And here's what you're going to do. You're just going to hold that button down until you hear the beeps like that. So what I'm going to do now is close that for you. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to open it back up, and you'll see that it returns to the height where I set it right there instead of going all the way up to where it was previously. So if you need to change that, that is how easy it is to do. I did want to show you that you have a spare tire located here underneath the floor. You actually have this little area as well underneath the floor for additional cargo capacity. And speaking of cargo capacity, 16 cubic feet up to 57.5. And you have a couple of interesting options here that you can use to maximize cargo space in a couple of different ways. The one that's most obvious is going to be right here with lowering both sides of the 60-40 split rear seats. But that's not all you have. Notice the little, well, what we could call a trap door right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open that, we're gonna push that forward, and now you can see that you have the pass-through right here. You can put whatever will fit through there, whatever you need to fit through there. That makes a big difference as far as that goes. There you go, a little bit better view of what you have in that area. So quite a bit going on here in the rear cargo area. Although it may not be massively huge for an SUV of this size, it's definitely not bad. You also have the 12-volt power outlet back here as well. And what exactly will your rear seat passengers find? Well, besides nice soft touch materials right here, elegant materials throughout, obviously a reasonable size door bin. It actually has kind of a carpet-like material right here instead of the felt that some vehicles have, or leather in some cases. But you've got a pretty decent amount of space down there, kind of hard to show in the video. And then very comfortable seating. And before I move inside, there you go. I told you it was there. Now I open the shade. There is the panoramic sunroof. We're gonna hop inside here, get rid of some of that exterior noise. You're gonna have the pockets, storage pockets back here, kind of a net style material, but you can see what's there. The air conditioning vents right here to help keep the rear seat passengers nice and comfortable. And then you're going to have the controls for the heated outboard seats. And then right here, we're going to have our USB connectivity. Always wonder why there's not 3 back here, because there is seating for 3 people. Now, you saw it folded down earlier, but I'll show you again anyway. There is the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. Now, tell me down in the comments what you think. Do you like this design, or would you rather have them right here? Because, well, it kind of hampers being able to put your arm on that armrest if there's a cup on either side, depending on which side you're sitting on. Just a little something that's interesting to think about that I noticed. And if you happen to be a door bin snob, well, you're going to want to call shotgun, because you have a bigger door bin, quite a bit larger door bin here with the front seat area. Basically the same other than that. And then you do have the very nice Harman Kardon stereo system within the vehicle here. You'll see some of the trim right here. Very nice material, that's for sure. And then the glove box, just to show you how much space is in there, and obviously power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger. We'll hop on inside here and take a quick look at what we have here. More connectivity options, as you can see right there. 12-volt, couple of USB options. And then you're going to have, well, we have one USB option, so I don't want to say a couple, there's just one, but you do have one wireless charging pad right there. A very nice, elegant looking shifter right here. Very unique. I think that's good though, because Volvo likes to set themselves apart from the competition. You do have the push button park option there, and your power parking brake as well. There are the cup holders, and then we'll take a quick look in here into the center console and let you see what is there. There is a reasonable amount of space in there, and if you want to open the sunshade or the shade or the sunroof, there's how you're going to do it. It's right here. I can actually go ahead and draw that shade back up. That's all you have to do, is pretty much just slide your finger across, and the shade will return back to its position depending on what your needs or desires are. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit the button to unlock everything and hop inside and let you hear what it sounds like when you get into the XC40. And we'll go ahead and start everything up and take a look around. A very nice looking instrument cluster. As you can see, one of the options you have is to have your navigation right up there, right in front of you. A very nice look. And you can customize this dashboard in a multitude of different ways. Obviously, you're going to have your cruise control right here. All of your functions that you can go through on the dashboard right here, depending on what you want to see and how you want to set things up. You can do that. There's a lot of information here that can be gone through and looked at and viewed and all that good stuff. Going to have 2 settings for seat memory, all the controls here for your power side view mirrors and your power windows. All of that's going to be there. And then here is something that I know has been a bit of a controversy over the course of years with these XC40s and all the Volvo vehicles that have this style of infotainment system. But here's the good news. It's now interactive. You have Google Assistant here. Let's see if I can get her to do something. Hey, Google, tell me a joke.
Why can't a bicycle stand on its own? It's too tired.
Well, there you go. If you like corny jokes, she's happy to tell you. But the good news here is that she will do anything you want pretty much except drive the vehicle. So let's just say I'm a little bit high on temperature and it's getting warm and I want to change the temperature. We can do that too. Hey, Google, change the temperature to 72 degrees.
All right, changing the temperature to 72 degrees.
And it's that simple. That's good news. And then as far as your seats go, you have the heated seats and heated steering wheel. You don't have the ventilated seats here, but not a big deal. You can go in and see all of your different options here as far as your apps go. There's a lot going on here. Now I want to show you something very important here. We're going to go into settings and then we're going to go into driving, because one thing you most likely noticed was not down here is the driving mode selector. As you can see, this is where you're going to select driving modes, and you only have a couple of modes to choose from, so not a big deal, but you can turn different features on and off. Pilot assist, as you can see right there, safety assistance, you can go in and work on that, and whatever you want to do, it's all there. And then the multi-view angles for the camera. I like this because you've got the front view camera, and then we can go back here, we can take a look at our side views, and then we'll go back again. Let's see here, let's get back to that. There we go. And you also have the rear view that is obviously going to come up when you go into reverse. But just so you can see what all is there, I think this is a big improvement. For those of you who have complained about these systems for the last few years, saying they're too hard to learn and too hard to use, well, the good news, even though you still don't have physical buttons for the air conditioning and all of that functionality, well, now you have Google Assistant to help you out with all of that. So that's a good thing. Here's the control for the front and rear wipers, and then obviously you'll control your headlight functionality here, and those blinkers I was talking about earlier that you should be using when you're driving down the road and letting other people know what is going on around them based on the decisions you are making. And then push button start and stop for the engine, and then you can see what all is here as far as your defrosters go, hazard lights, the control for the radio right there as far as volume and turning that on and off, and then switching back and forth between stations and all that good stuff. So what is it like to drive this XC40? Well, let's answer that question with a test drive. Okay, let's hop out on the road for our test drive. I'll tell you what, one thing I noticed here, this road may not look like it's that bad, but it actually is. And so it's giving me a good opportunity to honestly tell you that the ride quality of this XC40 is not bad. And I know some people might say differently. Something you have to consider. This is probably the hardest area of a car review video on YouTube to really get much out of, I think, as far as when whoever's talking. In my case, obviously, I'm telling you that the ride quality isn't bad, but other people might say, well, it's not the best. Here's the thing to think about with that. Number one, what is the person in the video used to driving? Are they used to driving something that doesn't ride very well? So they may think that the XC40 rides really well. If they're used to driving a really plush vehicle, they might think that it doesn't ride as well. So you have to take those kinds of things into account depending on what someone says in these videos. Ultimately, what that boils down to is you need to drive these vehicles for yourself when you can. But I will tell you this, it is comfortable. The acceleration is good. It may not be high horsepower, neck snapping performance, but it definitely gets you down the road with no problems. 247 horsepower, you know, it may not sound like a lot, but the power to weight ratio here is actually very well balanced. So if I drop the hammer to the floor, which I'll do after we get through this little intersection right here, well, it's not going to be a problem. I get down the road with absolutely no trouble. So let's slow down a little bit here. There's no one anywhere near me, so I can do this, get away with it. It definitely gets up to speed very quickly. You might be able to see the speedometer here through your view on the GoPro and see that, well, I need to slow back down again. So no problem there. You do have all the great safety features here, including your blind spot monitoring that's going to let you know if somebody's in your blind spot on either side. So that definitely makes a difference as far as that goes. There is a little bit of a blind spot over your right shoulder. So on the right side, that really comes in handy. It's not bad, but when you do look over there, well, the pillar back there, the roof pillar back there, does take up a good bit of space. And well, it's nice to know that you have that option to help you out in that situation. Overall handling here is very good. The steering is nice and responsive, and that's one of the big advantages to a vehicle of this particular size, is that it's very nimble, it's very agile. It's going to get around and get into tight spaces very easily, very tight turning radius. So that's going to have a lot of advantages. The seats themselves are comfortable. You do have the extension here on the front of the seat if you want to bring that out if you need to. And you can obviously adjust these seats in a multitude of ways. You can see that I have the navigation up here on the screen. So I know people often ask, do these vehicles have navigation built in? Obviously this one does through the use of Google Assistant and Google Maps. And yes, you can use voice commands to let Google Assistant know where you need to go. You don't have to even look at the screen. She's going to let you know what's going on and set everything up for you. There's a lot of advantages here. Google Assistant being added to these Volvos was definitely a great decision. I think that that will make a lot of people happy. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. Did Volvo make the right changes to the 2023 Volvo XC40? If you plan to buy one of these models, tell me all of the particulars. I'm curious to know color, trim level, all that information. Always want to know what your plans are. I'd like to hear from you down in the comments section. I gotta say a special thanks to my friends at Volvo Cars of Shreveport for loaning me this model for the day, and all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that is on the screen right now, and I will see you there.